If you've flown recently, you probably felt it. Airports look the same gates, same coffee lines, same boarding announcements, but something feels tighter, less flexible, less forgiving. People are getting stopped at the gate over half an inch, seats are being released earlier than expected, fees are showing up where they didn't before, and most of the travelers affected thought they were doing everything right. So today, we're going through 9 airport mistakes that can quietly cost you time, money, or even your seat, and exactly how to avoid them. Because in 2026, airports are not chaotic, they're precise. Let's start with the one that causes the most missed flights. First, the departure time trap. When your boarding pass says 2:00 p.m., that is not your arrival time. That is when the aircraft is scheduled to push back from the gate. Chatsin papo. On most domestic flights, boarding doors close about 15 to 25 minutes before departure. International routes often close even earlier. Here's how people get caught. They clear security at 1:35. They think, I've got time. They grab coffee, they take a call, they walk casually toward the gate. They arrive at 1:52. The screen says, boarding closed, the plane is still there, but the system is locked. Gate agents often cannot reopen boarding once it closes in the system, even if you're standing right there. The fix is simple. Treat 30 to 45 minutes before departure as your personal deadline to already be near the gate, not walking toward it, near it. The airport clock does not adjust for coffee decisions. Next up, relying on outdated arrival advice. For years, the standard advice was, 2 hours for domestic flights and 3 hours for international. That used to feel pretty comfortable. But now, many major airports actually recommend even more time, especially during those peak seasons. Security volume these days can fluctuate way more dramatically. ID verification processes, honestly, they can take longer than you might expect, and in some large airports, you may even need to take a train just to get between terminals. Even if the lines look short, just one unexpected slowdown can wipe out your buffer really quickly. The goal here is not to arrive stressed out and sprinting through the terminal, it's to arrive calm, maybe even a little early and already seated at your gate before boarding begins. If you find yourself just a bit bored, well, that means you actually timed it right. Now here's one that surprises travelers every week, not checking your fare type carefully. Basic economy fares on many airlines include only a personal item, not a standard overhead carry-on. That detail is usually in the baggage section, not highlighted in large bold text. So someone books the lowest fare, packs a roller bag like normal, and discovers at the gate that overhead bin access is not included. At that point, the only option is often to pay a gate fee, and gate pricing is rarely the cheapest pricing. Before finalizing your booking, scroll down and read the baggage rules attached to your fare class. If it says personal item only, take it seriously. A cheap base ticket can become expensive once fees are added. So, let's talk about carry-on size assumptions for a moment. Airlines do publish size limits, but what's really changed in the last few years is just how consistently those limits are being enforced. And, those measurements include everything: wheels, handles, and even those little external pockets. If your bag only fits when you push down on it or have to tilt it sideways, honestly, that's not a comfortable margin. Gate sizers are completely rigid, and yeah, agents are using them more and more, especially when flights are full. It's a good idea to measure your bag at home when it's fully packed. If it's right on the edge, you might want to consider checking it in advance online, since that's usually cheaper than paying extra at the gate. Amber Mydr Zent, second stammed. Another mistake that costs seats quietly is cutting check-in too close. Every airline has a strict check-in cutoff time. For domestic flights, it is often 30 to 45 minutes before departure. For international flights, it can be 60 minutes or more. Miss that cutoff and your seat can be released, even if you are physically in the airport. This surprises people because honestly, they assume that just being present is enough. It isn't, so check in online as soon as it opens, usually 24 hours before departure. It takes less time than checking your weather app. Now let's talk about digital dependence. Relying only on your phone for boarding. Digital boarding passes are convenient, sure, until your battery drops to like 3% in the security line. Phones die, Wi-Fi glitches, screens freeze at the worst moment, screenshot your boarding pass, save it to your wallet app, or, even print a paper copy as backup. It is not old-fashioned, it is backup planning. Here's something that catches travelers on full flights: leaving essentials inside a gate-checked carry-on. On full flights, gate agents may request that carry-ons be checked into the cargo hold due to overhead space limits. If that happens, remove medications, electronics, travel documents, and really anything you cannot afford to be without for a day. Prescription medications especially should always be packed in your personal item from the start. If your carry-on gets checked unexpectedly and, something gets delayed, replacing medication while traveling can be really complicated. Your personal item stays with you, but your carry-on may not. Now, here's something that should never be discovered at the checkpoint. And some about Zaprinchembor, ignoring real ID requirements. For domestic travel within the United States, passengers must present a real ID-compliant driver's license or another accepted form of identification, like a passport. If your state issues real ID-compliant licenses, they typically include a star marking. If you're unsure whether your ID qualifies, just check your state's DMV website before you travel. Security is definitely not the place to discover you brought the wrong identification. Another mistake that adds stress quietly, not verifying your gate location immediately. Some airports are compact, but others require shuttle buses, trains, or even long walks between terminals. After clearing security, go directly to your gate first. Find it, see how far it is, and then decide whether you have time for food or shopping. Many travelers assume the gate is nearby just because the number looks close. That assumption can really cost you. Finally, the mindset mistake: assuming it will work out. Air travel today relies heavily on automated systems. Boarding closes digitally. Check-in windows lock at cutoff times. Passenger manifests update in real time. Gate agents often cannot override these systems once they close. Politeness helps. Preparation helps more. Build buffer time into your entire process. Arrival security. Gate location boarding air travel rewards preparation. It does not reward optimism. Airports have not become impossible. They have become exact. If you avoid these 9 mistakes, you dramatically reduce your chances of paying surprise fees, missing boarding, being forced to check a bag unexpectedly, or arguing at the gate while your plane pulls away. And in modern air travel, the calm traveler almost always wins.